Let's move on to 7 Minutes in Heaven. What
So,
is our favorite scenes?
somebody's finna get sleazy. So, kids, quick question: why spend 6 minutes in hell when you can spend 7 minutes in dirt and take us there?
Every scene in this movie is great. Quite literally, every scene from the beginning and the end. They play out. What do you disagree? You know what? This is my part, so you can disagree quietly, and then every scene plays out like its own little like SNL skit or short film. Each have their own little conclusion, but they all contribute to the bigger story. I love every scene. I have a few honorable mentions before I get into my top three, or I'll start off with my number three, so you can go into your number three. Back and forth, back and forth. But let me get the honorable mentions out. So I give honorable mentions to the wake service at the end because it's like a mini stage production in itself, and of course you get the line where his friends from the bar are so they believe his performance so much when he falls down that he's like, no, no, Dawn was falling. Dawn fell. She used my body. Like that part, that just embodied that like somebody taking their performance so seriously that
Those might have been the only two real people there. Those two guys from the bar.
but he becomes Dawn or allows Dawn to become him.
Right.
That was a great scene. Another honorable mention, the picnic scene with Martha, and the another honorable mention to the attack on the road with Reginald, where they're throwing the smoke, rusty nails, the ham steaks. But here are my top scenes. I'll give you my number three first. The goat stealing scene with the farmer. I'm an eccentric. I keep roast beef in my pocket, and that's not a duck among those chickens. I like to laugh at it. You try. And Jesse, the icing on the cake, the cherry on top of the pie is Jesse Eisenberg's laughter at the goat. Well, or at the duck.
He couldn't even do it that fluid. He was like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, I agree. I won't take that from you. My number three would be there is a scene when he's at the graveyard at the end, and there's a not a monologue, but then he goes into song, and the first lines of the song is, "I've never had a Swiss whore," and for some reason I was just like, he's in a cemetery, he's about to die, and the first lines he can come out of is, "I've never had a Swiss whore," and I can't tell you what the they talked about in the rest of that song, but all I know is he's never had a Swiss whore, and to me that is movie cinema. That's gold, Jerry, gold. Thanks, Banya.
Have you ever had a Swiss whore?
I've had a Swiss Miss. I've had those chocolates. Can I get you to sign a non-disclosure? If you ask me that, if you sign a non-disclosure, I answer the question.
I've had a Swiss roll cake, and no, wait.
What does that mean?
It's not innuendo for anything.
It sounds like it is
It's
innuendo.
chocolate wrapped around white cream.
That's
and
what she said.
I'm still not making innuendos.
Zebra cake. What the are you doing? All right, on to your number two.
My number two is the library scene. That scene is as heartbreaking as it is hilarious because that pretty much sums up the problem in the whole movie that he's facing, that wanting to feel immortal, wanting to feel like the works that he's done are worth something, that they're appreciated. And the way that he so quickly goes to compromising from my books are going to be in the public library for anybody to read, to accepting that bitter fact that, like, the highs and lows of an artist of, oh, they want me, they love me, they hate me, I'm the worst, I'm going to die, no one's going to know who I am. Like, that he went through that range of emotions in, like, one scene, and it eventually ends up, no one's going to see my work, but then compromising where Mills, being the perfect wingman that he is, decides, I'll be your audience. I'll tell your stories to my children. And then, he's got the blanket, he's sitting down, he's listening to the story, and that line is so beautiful where he says, better for one than for none. Like, how many premieres are we emotionally preparing ourselves for beforehand? Like, man, I just, it was, I would love 350 people, but it would be great if, just really just showing it to one person. And really, the more is truly the merrier, but the things we tell ourselves so that we can boldly go into the next project are absolutely amazing. And that scene, that library scene, summed all that up so eloquently.
One thing I'll say to that, to what you were saying, I mean, just to add to your point, but you have to look at it this way. One thing I think we never thought about, remember as kids, or even just growing up, we were conditioned. We went to theaters that were filled. We watched people give applauses. We heard of these great directors, and of course, we aspired to be great actors and great directors just like them. But one thing we didn't think about was, again, they had budget, they had marketing, they had this, they had these people didn't just show up because they just heard of this film. Mm-hmm. They were conditioned to know this film. When we, even till now, when we reach out to people about film, it's like, we still can only get so many unless they've been conditioned to be told that it's good. So I think it's just something that as filmmakers you have to be prepared for, and like they say, just know that there's a way to get over the hump, but you still have to work at your craft. I will say that.
Yeah, unless you have found a way to tap into the zeitgeist somehow, it's going to be an uphill battle always.
Are you talking about?
Like how many big actors and big filmmakers could you name and compare that to how many people are acting and making films? And that's us who love film.
Right.
There's only a select, just like he says in the library scene, you haven't made a damn decision in your life if you've been given the options by somebody else. And that is the perfect representation of, really not just with the struggle for creators, but the struggle for anybody living in a free world.
Choose between this. Here's the vending machine. You have strychnine and Ritalin. Take one. All right. So with that being said, there. So I'm gonna go. All right. So
or as Always Sunny says, well, I want politician A that's ramming me in the ass or blasting me in the ass, or I want politician B that's blasting me in the ass. Either way, you're getting ass blasted.
At least cut on the lights if you're gonna ass blast somebody. That's all. That's what I always say. My second scene here was. My second favorite scene was that, and this is the one we were talking about earlier. Is that it almost was my first scene, but I just could not let the other scene go because it was one of the scenes that made me literally bust out laughing. I think I shed a tear. And that's going to be my number one. But for my number two, it is the fact that he literally marches to his death. That to me, bro, it was just like, damn, I didn't think about it. Boldly marches is like, and it's like he take like his dad when like it comes full circle. It's kind of like, damn, I'm not scared of anything.
Gave me chills, man. I watched it. Even consider that. I'm picturing it now. That's boldly marches into literally the abyss.
Literally, no questions asked. To the moment turns around, and that scene's so epic. And the only thing, the cherry on the top, is that the books are there, like in the coffin, like to me. So
bury me with my books.
So while it should have been my number one, I selfishly chose something else. But to me, like that scene was so powerful, man. Like you're not scared. Listen, I'm not scared. I'm going to march to it.
Damn, I almost want to change my number one now.
Well, just do a voiceover, like use my voice in front of your publicist.
My number one is the liquor smith scene because everything about that scene is so great. It's short, it's sweet, it's ridiculous. The wager is so absurd. Why would the liquor smith accept that? And you're a gambling man, so you can speak on this, please. You are the liquor smith. K. Roth Banu walks in. The bet is you have to pick what liquor he has on his mind, or you lose your glasses that you need to see. He's literally putting his tie on the line. You as the liquor smith are going, how the hell, it's so many options for you to choose from. So that, I'm not a gambling man, but I think that with your odds big time. But then there's he accepts it. He accepts the bet. Even though he can lose his glasses, worst case scenario, and the liquor. Oh, wrong again, liquor smith. Like this happens on a daily basis, and the liquor smith has never learned. And then like it even like illustrates how kind of idiotic the liquor smith is when, oh, and here I am with this fine pair of glasses that serve no purpose for me or something like that. The liquor smith goes, yeah, you just won them in the bet. Like, We were there. You were there. Who are you telling that you want him in the bed? We don't need a memory refresher now. This happened 30 seconds ago. Everything about that scene is so stupid in the most wonderful way. It sets you up for the adventure you're about to go on with K. Roth Banu and the characters that he's going to encounter. And it only gets, well, I wouldn't say it's my number one scene, so I can't at the same time say it gets better from there, but stays consistently as funny as that.
I'll agree. I'll hit 3 points very quick, and then I'll give you my number one. Number one, I'll agree that it does set you on the roller coaster to where you're going on. So you already know that reality has left the train station. Hogwarts is on the way. Mm-hmm. Number two, when you ask me being a gambler, I'm a strategic wagerist. But with that being said, I will say this: sometimes when you do, if you call it gambling, as you call it, sometimes when you're a degenerate gambler, look at me when I say this. You just need a fix. And you'll do anything for it. So that's the position that he was in. Shout out to Trojan.
So you're saying K. Roth Banu, like he does a lot of characters where he takes advantage of their weakness. The Liquorsmith's weakness is he has a gambling problem, and
he'll do anything.
K. Roth is exploiting that.
He'll do anything for a fix. He'll do anything. And so number three is me bringing myself back to my number one scene. My number one scene for this film that made me bust out laughing, and I'm pretty sure a tear or two came out. It was during the prostitution scene of the film, and when Mills, fucking Mills.
Hold on, let me see Mills while you're explaining this scene.
Mills takes some fucking substance. He turns around to this. And he taps it out in his hand, and he looks back. He's like, "Do you want to see my baby bird?" And she was like, "Yeah."
It got so dark so quick.
Because the lead up to that scene is that
he Bill Cosby'd her.
Right. No. But the lead up to the scene is Banu saying, "No, he's chronicling my life." It's actually me paying him not to watch. So if anything, I don't have $50 on my person. I have it now. Like he went through every excuse. She was like, "Yeah, no, you want me to call my pimp?"
Yeah.
Like, see, either one or two things happen. Either he was really that disturbed to where his fantasy was. Is that, like, in his mind, even when he was having sex with prostitutes, Mills was still there. Mm-hmm. That's how up he was. Or the other part of that was he was just that eccentric that Mills was there chronicling his life while he was his prostitute. So to me, I'm sorry, man. That was my number. When he said, "Do you want to see what made him say? You want to see my?" He could just turn around like, "Hey," he turned around. "You want to see my baby bird?" And she was like, freak out, just like the. Jesus Christ! Like who drugged somebody after sex? Yeah. That's what the was with
Only
me.
Only Mills, the asexual.
Jesus Christ, man! So that was my number one.
Those are solid.
Thank you, man.
I mean, you can't pick a bad scene.
You really can't. You really can't. Jesus Christ.
Find us in all these links. It's coming up right now.
That's the trailer.